Okay, I think our live streaming is now ready. So here we have three topics for today's meeting. One is a proposal change for Notary Project signature spec, which is to add an artifact type property to the current signature manifest. The second topic is to discuss an open question because recently we received a question from a user that they cannot verify the Notary Project signature produced by notation v2.0 alpha 1 with an admission controller, Kyverno. There might be some compatibility issue among two different releases between Notary Project and Kyverno. We may need to think about how can we make sure the downstream integrations compatibility with the latest Notary Project release. The third topic is to discuss the priority of improving the diagnostic experience of notation CLI. We can take a look at these three topics right now. Just to check, do you have anything else you want to share or you want to bring to the agenda?
It may not be a formal topic. Maybe at the end, if there's time, I would like to talk about notary and maybe AI governance.
Yeah, we can definitely add that topic to the agenda if you have some ideas or any general questions. Okay, Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you do it by yourself? I'm not sure what
Yeah, I can.
what
I
you
can.
exactly mean about the AI governance or
Yeah, I can add there. Yeah.
yeah. Let me share the agenda topics, the link again. So Victor, you can find the agenda links in our chat. Feel free to add your topic. Oh, before we get started, I want to share that we're currently adjusting our community meeting schedule. So let's take a look at this proposal. I had a proposal to request to change the meeting schedule cadence and also provide two different meeting series, one for APAC folks, another one for US folks. And also I want to propose a change on our meeting cadence. Previously, we meet every week at this time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is also 8 a.m. Beijing time. I know this schedule may not be friendly for US Central and even US East. So that's the motivation to propose two different meeting schedules to accommodate people from different time zones. Also, sometimes we don't have sufficient topics for discussion. So I'm thinking that maybe have a biweekly cadence might be appropriate for our current situation. But we can adjust it based on our attendees' feedback. This is a flexible question. So for folks in different time zones, please help to vote on these two polls and also comment on this issue. This issue is primarily to make decisions on the meeting cadence change. And if you want to attend a specific meeting series, you can also vote with your availability in these two polls. For the APAC friendly poll, we are likely to pick this time slot, which is 1:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. UTC time, because this is the this has the highest votes among the community attendees. But we will see how we gonna change to accommodate more people from different time zones. So folks, these polls are not limited to maintainers. Every attendee is welcome to share your opinion and your availability in this issue and those two related polls. Let me know if you have any questions regarding the meeting cadence change and also the meeting schedule polls. If not, we will back to those three topics. Okay, no more concerns. Then we can start from the first one. First one is actually a small pull request for the signature manifest change. Last week, we had a very brief discussion on this change, which is one of the issues in our beta 1 release. I can start from some context that we had been discussed last time. So basically, the idea was proposed from a Harvard community maintainer, I think. And they want to leverage the OCI property, OCI 1.1 property, artifact type to filter out the artifact type for notary project signature. Our current implementation is to use the config media type to indicate the type of a notary project signature, but based on the OCI 1.1 spec, apparently artifact type might be more appropriate for the signature manifest. So I opened a pull request in the specification repositories and request a change according to this issue. Let me also share this pull request. I want to have a quick agreement with folks in this meeting, and also see if any concerns regarding the backward compatibility design. So based on the issue description, we will introduce an additional new property, which is artifact type. We inherited the property from config media type, which is the application vnd.cncf.notary signature as the artifact type value. And we set the value of the original config media type as the OCI empty v1 JSON. This is what the OCI image 1.1 spec recommended. So I use this value to indicate the config media type. And also we will also need to consider the backward compatibility for verification behavior because started from notation v2.0, we still need to let those signatures produced by older versions of notation can be verifiable by notation v2.0 and future versions. So that means we want to minimize the impact of this breaking change in the signature manifest and let notation v2.0 and future versions can still verify the signature manifest, the older signature manifests. Hey, Shui, please.
So my question here is that uh, is the notation 1 or 1.0 or above is forward compatible. For example, and now we have the notation 2.0, right? And then it's
Yes.
produce a new signature manifest. Can the older version of the notation consume the new one? So we can have graceful translation.
You mean that the older version of the notation CLI to can older versions verify the new version of the notary project signature? Is that the question?
Yes, yes, that's right. If not, we may need to introduce a new minor version for V1.
That's a good question, and I didn't consider that situation.
Uh, is the forward compatibility required or it is nice to have?
If we don't have forward compatibility, that means older versions of notation cannot verify the signatures produced by notation of 2.0. That means all new users will still use the old format instead of using the new format because the new format cannot be accepted by the old version of notation.
Yes. Actually, notation V2 will use the forward API, but in notation V1 we use text schema by default. So for now, if user just sign the signature and push to the registry, use the default setting, notation V1 cannot verify.
It's
Because
okay as long as there's a workaround. By the way, Junjie, your voice is very low. I'm not sure I can fully uh, hear you.
Awesome.
I'm here. Try to get closer to the microphone. But I think Junjie is more tend to prefer not have the, how to say, the forward, backward. How
That's
to say
called
that?
forward compatibility versus the
Forward
backwards.
compatibility.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a reverse definition. I think ideally we want the users to upgrade their notation CLI to the latest version, especially the versions that being maintained by the community, right?
Yes. So that's why I'm proposing if both V1 V2 can accept the new and the old version of the signature manifests, so that we can have a smooth transition.
I, I think the issue that I'm hearing is if we don't have the forwards compatibility, then everybody has to upgrade. Like you can't generate a V2 compatible signature until all of your consumers have already upgraded to V2, which seems like it would be a significant, like that's a significant hurdle to clear depending on the number of consumers you have.
Yeah, that is kind of a breaking change to the users who are still using the older version of notation CLI. What's your opinion for having forward compatibility for this version for this release? Oh, sorry, for this feature. Josh and Byron, I'm not sure
This
whether you.
this seems like if we don't support forwards compatibility, it can potentially be a significant blocker for people to adopt 2.0 because they essentially have to force all of their consumers to also adopt 2.0, which at least in our experience we found can be can be a pretty big ask.
Can you clarify a bit on why this will be a blocker for those users who still use the older version of Notation CLI?
Well, it would be a blocker for anyone who's signing. Essentially, they can't upgrade their signatures to a V2 compatible signatures until all of their consumers have also upgraded.
Yeah, that's a valid situation because the signer and the verifier can be different roles, right? The signer may upgrade to the latest version and generate the signature in with the artifact type field, but the verifier may still uses the older version.
Yeah, so I think that if that isn't part of the initial V2 release, that's likely to be something that we're going to get feedback on as something that's going to block people from adopting V2 until that forward compatibility issue gets fixed. That's my take.
Thanks for sharing your insights. Patrick and other folks, do you have any ideas on forward compatibility support?
I agree with Shui and Josh.
Okay, sounds like we have reached the supermajority of the agreement on having forward compatibility for this feature. So I can append some changes according to our conversation. So basically, we want to have backward compatibility and also the forward compatibility for the new signature manifest. For the original config media type, I just used the OCI empty v1 JSON as the value. Do you have any concerns on this value? If not, I will be following this pattern because this is recommended from the OCI image 1.1 spec. Okay, I just take a quick note for forward compatibility support. If you have any other comments or suggestions, feel free to review this pull request and also leave your suggestions in the pull request, okay? We will move to another session, another topic. I just paste the link of the pull request in our chat in case anyone want to continue review it. Okay, the second topic is an open question. I can share some recent discussions in an issue who signed the image with the notation HashiCorp Vote plugin, and also used the CLI tool on GCP with Google Artifact Registry. They verified the signature with Kyverno as the policy engine, but unfortunately, eventually they cannot they cannot verify the image with Kyverno. And after digging into the details of their use cases, I find that the Kyverno version and their documentation still uses an older version of notation. For example, here, Kyverno documentation still uses notation 1.0, and the user in the user scenario, they use notation v2.0 alpha version. That means the situation would be they produce the signature with the using the reverse API, but they still verify the signature use the text schema, I think, because that is the default behavior of notation 1.0. My question here is that, we are iterate the notation CLI and also the whole Notary project very fast, right? We have new releases almost every 2 months or every quarter. So how can we make sure the downstream integrations compatible with the latest Notary project release? This is one of the issue that we received from the user. They have the compatibility issue with verifying the Notary project signature in Kyverno, in the latest release of Kyverno. So I'm thinking we may consider some compatibility test or keep closer communication with those partners who integrated notation or being verified the Notary project signature. I'm looking forward to any suggestions from all of the attendees and see if you have any ideas to mitigate this situation. I can also give 1 more minute for folks to read the comment from this user. Any advice so far? How could we better mitigate this kind of compatibility issue with other integration or other projects that integrated Notary project signature?
I think it's kind of not avoidable because it's a major version change, right?
You mean this is by design?
Freeman, I don't think this is the issue that the user is using the new version of notation to sign and use the old version to verify. So can you scroll up? They have a screenshot.
Yeah, actually,
I think it's from the user Noobs 2 weeks ago. They're actually using 2.0 Alpha 1 to sign and verify and inspect. You can see it from their debug log. when using the new version to verify to inspect, they still cannot see the signature. So it's not as I reply to them in the issue. I think it's an issue to the server of the registry. Yes.
You mean,
So for in this screenshot, you could see from the debug log of inspect command. Scroll up.
Yeah.
You see from the debug log of the inspect command, and you can see it's from the request header. The user agent is 2.0.0 alpha 1, right?
Yes.
So I don't think it's using the old
Keyverno?
version of notation. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think the problem is it's not happened in notation verify command. What block they continue to use or conduct its POCs because they uses a new version of Keyverno, which is a verification engine, a policy engine for Kubernetes to verify the Notary project signature. And that Notary project signature was produced by notation v2.0 alpha 1. So they didn't complain about the notation verify cannot work with notation sign. It's actually happened. It's a compatibility issue with the Keyverno because Keyverno integrates Notary project and support Notary project signature in their previous release, and they still uses an older version of notation CLI, which is 1.0. But in the user's test case, they uses notation 2.0 alpha 1.
So
I guess
based on
go ahead, please.
Yeah. So based on my understanding, there are two issues. The original problem in this issue is they're using notation CLI to do the work, but didn't work, right? And the other issue is they post a new comment here talking about Keyverno. I think there are two issues here.
Yeah. For the first issue, they didn't respond to us whether they managed to verify the image or not.
And if you scroll to the top of the issue, the most original description from David, as you can see, apparently they are using notation CLI to do the sign, list, and verify, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think there are two issues here.
Yes, for the notation signature verification failure, I think we can improve that by documenting some specific nodes on the Notary project website and do some compatibility test with the popular OCI registries.
I'm still trying to understand this. I'm reading some of the comments in this thread. It sounds like what is going on here is that GCP or the whatever the GCP artifact registry is, they say that they're compatible with OCI 1.1, but the behavior we're observing doesn't actually match that. Is that, have we confirmed that?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting because like I would expect on the Notary project side, I would expect us to say that we're compatible with any OCI 1.1 compatible registry. And in this case, it's actually GCP that's not correctly, they're claiming that they're compatible and they're actually not, which is an interesting problem.
Yes, that's another problem. But unfortunately, I don't have a GCP account to verify this issue. So basically, I think those two belong to compatibility issues. So if the GAR, the Google Artifact Registry, is 1.0 compliant, I think notation should still be compatible with GAR, right? It can use the text schema to push the signature.
Yes, that's true. So I think the gap here is in the new version of notation, we only provide reference API option during verify, list, and inspect.
Mm-hmm.
But in Sign, we provide the option to let user choose to use the 1.0, the OCI 1.0 only.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to, so the first question is, do we want to comply with every well-known registries? Like if the registry only comply with OCI 1.0, do we want to cover those scenarios? The second question is, if we do want to cover all scenarios, then we need to provide options in verify, list, and inspect command, similar to the sign command.
I'm trying to understand your questions regarding the compatibility options. So in notation sign, we have options to produce the signature using text schema format, right?
Yes. So for the GCP issue, if they use the OCI 1.0, it should work. But in notation is not providing that option during list and verify. So we always try reference API first. If it fails, we fall back. But in the GCP issue, that didn't work.
You mean the verify, list, and inspect, the backward behavior does not work as expected because of
Yes, for
GCP.
that, for that registry.
I think apparently we want to have notation support most of the popular container registry in the industry, whatever they are 1.1, OCI 1.1 or 1.0. And in most of the cases, the users will not be aware of what's the version of their container registry is compatible with, because looking at the comments, this user is not aware of what's the specification version that the GAR uses. He mentioned he is not familiar with OCI spec. So I think, how can we make the backward related mechanism works more smooth with those registries is the thing we want to resolve.
Yeah, that needs some further discussions. Maybe an issue could track the discussion.
Yes, I think there are likely two issues. One is for to support those registries which is still uses OCI 1.0, right? And another issue is to have compatibility tests for those downstream projects like Kyverno and Ratify. For the Kyverno case, I created an documentation issue on the Kyverno website repository. So I think that should be enough to track the Kyverno compatibility version, a compatibility issue with notation. So Patrick, would you be able to help create the issue for resolve compatibility issue with other registries which still uses OCI 1.0?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks. Let's be quick because we still have a few agenda items in our chat, in our list. Given we only have 80 minutes, so Victor, would you want to talk about the Notary project's role in AI governance? I think this is an open question, may require more inputs from others.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. When we first started, really it was me taking the CKS exam, the Kubernetes Security Specialist exam. While taking it, not sure like you're familiar with the exam or not. So it's a very nice, have a very systematic way of testing people's knowledge. However, I do notice a lot of the important project, including Notary, is absent from not only the exam itself, but even the training materials doesn't discuss about Notary. For that matter, many other similar projects, including like in total, etc. Then I go out and look for why it's not there, and then discuss with the Kubernetes security SIG, and find out that at this point, whenever usually because it's hands-on exam, so if it's concept, it is hard to test everything, right? So if you see that what's in there is test products such as Falco, so really the project you can actually test the concept just using just a few commands. So maybe for Notary is not that simple. Then beyond that, if I also participate in the not initiative, it's called EU AI Act Code of Practice discussions. So if you haven't seen this one, this is the latest release it hasn't been finalized yet, but it's code of practice framework. In here, if you see the top, AI security and AI safety are quite important. That's the main focus of EU AI Act. So I know so this is more of a requirement. Be honest, I participate in this meetings. There's a lot of people, so I didn't really talk anything. But what I get from this discussion is, at this point, there's this high-level requirement. There's this need, but nobody knows how actually do it down to the technology level. There's some discussion. I also participate in other ecosystem about the requirements. But so now coming back to Notary. not only of Notary, but in general, the CNCF, the Cloud Native Open Source project, what does the role that Notary plays, in the overall security mechanism, and what is the role does Notary play in the AI governance? Then I'll just show you another two websites. Since Notary is related to security, obviously there are many security methodology and frameworks. Well, the one that's very popular is MITRE's attack framework, which is give you a lot of detailed of the threat tactics and mitigation techniques. So my question to expert like you, I would say, is it possible at all to map what Notary does to one of this little box there for security? This is before the AI is considered. And then for AI, there's another one, which is called Atlas. This one is not as comprehensive. So because MITRE does a great job documenting the threat techniques and techniques, but they only capture the one that's already been either found in real world use cases or at least has been proven it's possible in labs. So this one is related to AI security. And so of course AI safety is kind of closely related, but not exactly. So I would say my question to the Notary project experts is coming back to my original first story of CKS, uh, how what how to tell the story about Notary so that Notary can be part of this ecosystem, should be in the training for CKS, even if it's hard to test, but at least it should be in the storyline of how to use Notary for security. And then one step further, considering the requirement for AI governance is not clear yet, what new feature need to be added to Notary to uh, play that important role in AI governance? Yeah, I guess that's my question per se.
Wow, that's a lot. And I think some of those websites or concepts are still totally new, like the Atlas, the EU AI Act. I'm not sure if those are RFC or some general guidance framework in the industry. If anybody have any.
EU Act is kind of legal framework. So and there's some other act as well. So if a company doesn't follow this after a couple of years, if they still haven't done anything, they could be fined like 2 or 3% of the worldwide revenue. So it's a really high penalty for not meeting those requirements. If you do business in Europe, obviously. But I think the reason I choose this one, each country have their own special AI act already, whether it's formal and informal. But I think this UI act is the most clearly defined, well-organized act, legal framework. That's why I use that example here.
Thanks. So my understanding is that you want to promote Notary project to some of the authorized exams, standards, industry standards, and protocols, right? I know CKS is a well-known Kubernetes certified Kubernetes exam, especially for security area. We had some conversations around that.
Yeah. Basically, I'm a generalist, so I mean, I come to these places to talk to the expert to try to learn about the details of a notary. But so how do I tell the story of notary when it comes to the security frameworks, like the MITRE attack, right? How does it fit that picture? And then one step further, what notary's role will be in the AI governance world. Yeah, probably only you will know for sure. Yeah, that's why I just raised this question.
Thanks. Did you get a chance to review the documentation, like the quick start and the introduction of the Notary project on the website?
I've been reading about not very closely, but reading about TUF and in total. Actually, I know in total's role because in total has played a very important role for ensuring the provenance of software and maybe in the future model to make sure those signed by the someone who is trusted. So yeah, in total, actually, I'm more clear. But to be honest, in this the similar to Notary Sigstore has been playing I guess more you can say prominent role in the overall open source ecosystem because they're Sigstore plus cosign it play a very important role there. I know Notary and slash Tough is more feature rich. So for corporations who want to, create more comprehensive feature rich workflow, it probably do a better job in Sigstore in certain areas. I don't know where it is but that's what my understanding. Yeah, that's why I think probably only you can tell the story why Notary and what role do they play in security and then AI governance.
Thanks, Victor. Anyone want to provide insights for Victor's question? As a moderator, I will reserve this opportunity for other folks.
To me, notation or notary project is a signing and verification tool for containers and blobs. So the question I think it can be reduced to something like how signatures of containers or blobs play a role in the AI governance. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe it's easier to maybe compare with other like closely related or similar project um like Sigstore, for example. What how so if I say the compare is there actually I mean, maybe there is there any documentation about how Notary compare with Sigstore? Um, I know it's more feature rich, but in what use cases will I use Notary? In what use cases will I use Sigstore? Maybe that's a good place to start from.
Currently, we don't have a very concrete comparison doc to compare Notary Project and Sigstore, but based on our observation, seems Notary Project is more suitable for users who have their own PKI, which is a big PKI-based solution. They want to secure their images with their current PKI infrastructure. And Sigstore is more widely used in open source scenarios for some of the open source communities. They don't have PKI. They may use their CA infrastructure like Reco and Fossil to as a trusted center for the signing service. Hey, Shui.
Yeah, that may be in two information details. So just want to compare them in the high level. So say yes, that's right. Sixstore and Notary projects are similar stuffs. They are the framework or the set of suite that can sign and verify containers and you say blobs. Okay, so the difference here is that Notary Project and Sigstore has different trust models, and that's the only difference. In general, they share the same functionality.
Yeah, that's actually a very good place to start. Like how different is trust model? Yeah, I think that would be great if you can write some, even starting with some blogs about it. That would be really helpful. Because imagine, if just this requirement such as the EI Act is coming from the regulations, legal frameworks. And then companies start to need to be compliant, and they look for, other than commercial products, they will look for open source projects to start from, right? So, but somebody say, okay, let's choose Notary or Sigstore to meet certain requirement documented in this this list you're seeing on screen. But how do they decide, right? So that's yeah, you're right. It is a high level question, and then but starting comparing the trust model will be really, really awesome information.
Thanks, Shui and Victor. So back to your initial idea of bringing Notary project to CKS, the exam, right? And also their training. So what do you think, or what kind of materials that you would want us to provide for you to tell the story?
Yeah,
I remember, yeah, maybe one
sorry.
more context. Yeah, I remember CKS, the training course previously integrated the legacy notary. So actually, I want to clarify the brand. There's a legacy notary, which is used by Docker Content Trust. And now we say notary project or notation for our current implementation. The legacy notary was integrated by CKS exam. And if you're looking at their training course, I think you can still find related content related to the legacy notary. It would be better that we can replace the legacy notary with current notation implementation or our current concepts.
Yeah, I feel that I mean, so I took the three exam, right? The CKA and CKAD and CKS. CKA and CKAD are pretty basic. At least, I mean, there are a lot of content they don't test. So there's, I mean, it's just making people try to learn the basics. That's it. But CKS, if you look at how it's tested, actually, if you haven't, go to the um, Killer Shell. I think have some examples of the CKS exams. What I feel is can be better is if the examples, if the test is kind of follow a particular storyline, right? So basically, mm, for example, the CKS already have an exam question about bill material. You use the utility called BOM-CTL. From BOM-CTL, you can generate SPDX SBOMs, bill material, and in total is mentioned to be, because it's closely related. So you can actually use in total to verify that bill material is signed by someone, is created by someone. It reflects actual, all the provenance and slash attestation is done by in total. That is a good storyline because this is not only test the how to generate it, but after generated, how do you use it to make sure you basically it's documentation to be given to the compliance department in each organization about so we already done everything we can do to ensure the security and safety of the product. I know we're reaching the end of the hour, but I know as I said, this is a really, even the requirement itself is not clear yet. I just want to come here and probably just see uh, if this is something you're interested in looking into, and we can follow up offline.
Yeah, as we have very limited time today, I think we can keep our discussion offline. We are connected on Slack, right? And I do see there's a section, supply chain security in CKS, and which mentions sign and validate artifacts. This is where we can introduce notary project, or we say notation, into CKS. And I do see the benefits of integrating notary project as a part of the CKS, which will promote the project to broader security folks, right?
Exactly. So it could be really a storyline. If you have open source project, do the 6-door signature and all that good stuff. But you have a corporation that's doing internal development, Notary will be able to, what's the difference in the trust model and who are the players? The actual exam could be very simple. It's just a few commands to execute some statement to either configure it or troubleshoot it, but at least the storyline is there yeah.
Okay, I think we can continue the discussion. Feel free to reach out to me and see if any inputs you want to draft the story. As we have very limited time, I think for this topic, Victor, we can discuss later. Okay. Okay, I see thumbs up from Victor. The last topic, I think we don't have enough time, which is to discuss improvement of the diagnostics experience of notation CLI. So I think folks, please help to review and comment on this issue. We will see whether we want to bring this issue to notation beta 1 or beta 2, maybe, because this likely to be a breaking change in notation with 2.0. Any questions? If not, I think we can finish today's meeting. We are 2 minutes over time. Okay, thank you everyone for joining today's meeting. Have a nice day, have a nice evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.